welcome back. It's Christmas in July, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make two really easy and super cute Christmas crafts. Alright y'all, let us get started. First off, you're going to need one of these star-shaped wreath frames from the Dollar Tree. You're also going to need some of this big bulky yarn. This is the Chanel type yarn. This is Mainstays brand, so it came from Walmart, but you can get this stuff pretty much at any craft store that carries yarn. So I've just cut a long piece here to make it easier to work with. I'm not going to try to attempt to push the skein through here, and you're going to see what I mean here in a minute. But anyway, I'm going to take the end and I'm going to glue it down here in a second. Not right now. I'm going to take the end and we're going to start down here in like this valley. Not at the point, but like down here in this valley. Let's just hold it right here to the left side of that little bar. And then let me find the end, and then I'm going to take the other end and just pass it behind that bar and pull up the end. And then just going to pull it through like so. Be careful because it will catch on the point of the star down here. Okay, see how I did that? Now let's move on to this next spoke here. Take the end of your yarn, just going to go behind it, pull it out the other side, and then just pull it like so. Just like that. Okay. Turn it to your next spoke. Take the end of your yarn, go behind it, and then pull it through just like so. Okay. Okay. Now let's go back over here. Now that we have a little bit of yarn, we're just going to take a line of glue, and then I'm just going to glue the end down on the very back of that yarn that we've already passed around it. Okay. Just let that sit there, and that'll be that. So now let's get the end, and I'm just going to do this all the way around. I'm going to keep going around until we build it up all the way up to this point, okay? Now you're probably going to take your fingers and smush it down a little bit, you know, guide it to where you need it to go. And that's just fine. Just going to keep working my way around, and then when I get this part filled up, we'll come back and take a look. This is what I have so far. Now, the way that I did it, once you get to like these little center ones, you're going to have to push it down with your fingers a little bit to make space to wrap your yarn around it to get back up to the next point. Okay, because this was filling up quickly, whereas this was not. I mean, you know, that's just how these frames work. If you've worked with them, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, we're just going to keep doing the same thing on this outer part. Okay, just the same thing that we were doing. Just taking your yarn. Where is the end? The end is here. Right here. Take the end of your yarn wherever you leave off on this previous one. Just wrap it around, push it down a little bit, and then you're just going to work your way over to this next little segment here. Pull your yarn through like so. Stupid fly. Don't you just love summertime? Run it back through the back here, and then back up to your next point, and then up and down and up and down. Like I said, you're going to press it down with your hands, and don't pull so tight when you pull your yarn through, because then that condenses the part on your points and you have to use more yarn. Okay, so I'm just going to keep working my way around until we get this outer portion filled up. All right, so we're basically done wrapping this yarn around our frame, and now what I'm doing is, because the points aren't exactly the way I want them to be, I'm just putting a blob of hot glue, and then I'm just going to pull the yarn down into a point, and I'm just holding it there on top of that hot glue until it sets up. Just kind of getting everything there. That way it gives you a more pointy look, and it isn't pulling back off your frame, because see how it will do that? And then it rounds out. So we're just going to pull it into a point and then glue it down. We're going to glue it to the table first. If you don't glue it down to the table, it's not going to work for you. Let's put some glue there. I'm just pulling this down, and then I'm just holding it there. And I'm going to do that on all the points. Now I have some ribbon. This ribbon is 1.5 inches wide, and it came from Joann's. This is one of my favorite Christmas prints of ribbon. You don't need a big fancy bow maker to make a bow. I just make simple bows. So I'm just going to take the end of my ribbon here, and let's just make a loop. See about how wide I want it. That looks fine. See, there's my loop. And then let's just bend our ribbon to make a loop roughly the same size as this one over here. Does this have to be perfect? No. Stop trying to be so perfect with your bows. It doesn't have to be perfect. If it is perfect, good for you, but it doesn't have to be. Okay? The only thing is, you want to keep your ribbon to where the pretty side is showing. So now that I've made that loop, you see I'm just going to twist it. Now the ugly side is showing. Now I'm just going to fold it back over so that the pretty side is showing. And I made a loop. Make as many loops as you want. I think I'll make 3. So I'm just going to bend it. Just make another loop. Just holding it here in the center. Now it's twisted with the ugly side facing. Now let's just bend it and make another loop with the pretty side facing. That's all you're doing. Now I'm going to cut it here. And then you're just going to scrunch it down in the middle like so. And then I'm just going to take some of this floral wire and wrap it around just to hold everything in place. I've got the loops kind of fluffed out. Not really. I'm going to mess with it again here in a minute. It's not what our bow is going to wind up looking like. Now I'm just going to take some more of this ribbon and try to decide like about how long I want the tail. Okay, I think the tail will be okay being that long. So I'm just going to fold it in half. That's going to give us 2 tails. Just cut that. And then I'm just going to take a piece of this wire. Yes, I just cut it with my scissors. It'll be all right. So this is the center of our ribbon. Let's just scrunch that down like so. And then we're just going to put it right here, and I'm just going to hold it in place with this wire. So the tail is on our bow, and I'm just going to take another strip of ribbon. What am I going to do with that? I'm going to tie it in a knot. Just kind of keep it in the center. Just tie another knot. Whee! Okay. Let's get our knot together here. And now I'm just going to, you know what, I'll trim the ends off here in a minute. I'm just going to put a blob of glue right there in the middle of my bow. And then I'm just going to take the knot and glue it down. Yeah, so many people out there, you know, they talk about wanting to make bows, but I don't have the money for a bow maker. You don't need a bow maker. Goodness gracious. I'm sick of people saying that in these videos. You don't need a bow maker. Okay, so now that glue, let's move this out of the way, shall we? That glue is going to set up, and now all I'm going to do is we're just going to trim this down in the back like so. And I'm just going to put a blob of glue right there and fold the ends over and glue them down. Here's my bow, and it is squashed, but you know what? I don't even worry about fluffing out my bow really until I get everything attached to my wreath. I get the bow put on, then I worry about going back and fixing everything. So don't get mad at yourself if your bow's not all fluffy and beautiful right when you make it. It doesn't have to be. Okay, but anyway, I have this Christmas greenery. This came from Walmart last year, and you know what? I'm not a big fan of this pine cone. So what we're going to do, apparently when we cut it off, it's going to fly across the room. Anyway, with my trusty wire cutters here, and I'm just cutting off that clip end. Now with that same floral wire, you can wire down your greenery if you want to. I think I'm just going to glue mine on for the sake of this video. Because this wreath, for me, isn't going to be going outside on a door or anything. So I'm not, you know, real worried about anything coming off of it. So let's just get everything in place. And now let's grab our bow. And I wanted a red bow just to give it, you know, some color here. I'll fix the tail ends of it here in a bit. So let's kind of right about there. Okay, so I'm just going to pipe on some glue here. I'm going to push my glue stick further down so that the glue actually comes out. And I'm just going to glue this down here. Like I said, use some wire if you want to. Just use some whatever floral wire you have. Just wire it down here. As for me in my house, we shall use a glue gun. I'm going to glue the other one on as well. Okay. Now I'm just going to glue on my bow. is I'll get it glued on, and then I will go back and worry about the tails and where I want them to go. But for now, let's just get the bow on. I'm going to leave this up here so that you can see that it's a star, like you can't tell from the other points. But anyway, I want to leave this here so that you can see it. Now, how do you hang a wreath like this? For the star wreaths, I just take some of that floral wire again, and on the back of the frame, I just wrap it around the frame itself and just use that wire as a loop to hang it up with. That's how I do it. Okay, so now there's that, and then we'll just fix our tails. Fix our tails. Is your tail crooked? We just fix our tails and fluff up our bow, and that is that. We're moving on. In my hands, I have one of these wooden plaques from Dollar Tree. See, wooden plaque, wood plaque. And I have this sponge applicator. Right here, this is just a scrap of wrapping paper. Now what I'm going to do is take my Mod Podge here, and I'm just going to paint it on this wooden plaque here in a very thin layer, because this wrapping paper is very thin. You don't want to put too much, it'll get wrinkly. I know the iron-on method and all that whatnot, but I'm just going to paint this on in a thin layer. And I'm not going to paint the rest of the plaque, like the edges or anything, because I want that wood tone to be prevalent in the finished piece, so we're not going to paint that. But anyway, just a very thin layer here. It looks like I don't have enough, but there's plenty. And then I'm just going to take this wrapping paper, and I'm going to lay it down and then just press it down like so. And I'm not going to try to trim this off until the Mod Podge has set up and dried, because I have found, like with these, when you really can't, you know, trace the shape down, I just like putting it on there, and then I take an X-Acto knife and I trim around the edge of the oval where this is placed, okay? So now let's let that dry. As you can see here, you can see the edge of the design. I just take my finger and just kind of just press it down on there. And then you just take your X-Acto knife and you just trim around. And I think it gives you a pretty clean edge when you're using a piece of wood like this that is beveled, and you may not be able to trace it perfectly. I'm just going to cut all the way around. Now I have these little wooden snowflakes. They say color your own ornament, but these came from Dollar Tree, and I believe I'd seen them at Dollar General last year as well. Okay, as you can see, that's why I didn't want to paint this. I wanted to keep this color. So let's flip it up so that this part is up here. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue. I'm going to try not to put too much because I don't want it to ooze everywhere. Just a little bit, and then we're going to stick it down. Come on, a little here, a little there. Hurry up, Amber. Boink. Is that kind of centered? Yep. All right, I'll just press that down. I have a bag of these letters. These came from Walmart. They were over in, you know, like the kids' crafts, like pom-poms and pipe cleaners and like the big bulky plastic beads, that kind of thing. This is where I got these, and I've seen these in my store all year round, so you can pretty much grab them anytime you need them. Now this bag is open. I don't have a piece of tape handy to close it. Watch me spill it everywhere. Y'all know I'm clumsy. I am clumsy. But anyway, I want to glue these down. I spelled out the word joy. You spell whatever you want to spell. And I'm just going to stick. Let's start with the O, shall we? Put that there. And then we're going to glue on the others. We're almost done with this. Now what do I have here? I just have this really cute, simple bow. And I just tied this. I used a piece of twine. And then I just laid the ribbon over top of it and just tied a basic bow. Nothing fancy here. Just a basic little bow. And then we're going to put a blob of hot glue there. And we'll stick it right over there to cover up that hole on our snowflake. And that is that. Now what do you do with this? Well, you can hang it up if you want to. You can use like a pop tab off of a soft drink can. You can use that. Or you could take a piece of wire, roll it into a loop, glue that to the back. Or the way that I'm going to use it, I'm just going to prop it up on a tiered tray. You know, just prop it up on there. That's all that I'm going to use this for. But anyway, just something fast and quick. Like I said, especially for tiered trays, we just need something quick and easy just to throw on there to change up the look. So anyway, really super cute and super easy. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you would, please give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe and check me out on other forms of social media, links to all of which will be in the description box down below. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.